What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Today, I want to tell you about 3 exercises you should be doing. So, basically, today I want to tell you about bodyweight movements, of course, because it's this channel. What do you expect? Um, but I want to tell you not only about the way they align with my program, because they do, but also the fun aspect. Because as I get busier and busier over time, and I have less time to train, and I'm as passionate with those things that I'm doing as I am with training, I end up struggling to find the motivation to train. Not because I don't like training, it's just that I equally would spend time doing those other things. So I really have to find ways to making training more appealing so I can, get shit done. So I want you to also consider that these exercises not only are effective, but also exercises that I enjoy a lot and you might enjoy as well. So they might work for you, and if so, let me know in the comments. And meanwhile, while you're there, leave a like down below and subscribe if you want to. So let's begin with the first exercise, BFR diamond push-ups. I think BFR was one of the best investments I have ever made because they are amazing. And the best, I would say, BFR exercises to do would be BFR ring curls and BFR diamond push-ups. Excellent. Maybe BFR dips as well on a fixed bar, not on the rings, on a fixed bar. Perfect. It was just perfect. Perfect. Right to the last minute detail. So basically my rationale is this. I love doing diamond push-ups. I can get over 40, 50 reps. Um, and I like doing them, like decline, super decline, regular ass diamond push-ups, with the feet on the ground. They're great, but I struggle to find a place for them because I have to really tire myself out or do ultra high reps. So BFR has that benefit that not only it helps in terms of the arm biasing effect, because I want big arms, but also it makes the basics way more difficult. And if you look at the literature, it causes similar adaptations to heavy weights. Usually the protocol they use is high reps, low rest times, and as many sets as possible, basically. Not as many sets as possible, but it's usually more than 4. And with that, yes, protocol, you get similar results to heavyweight. So you can imagine what you can do if you program for it correctly, which I'm going to tell you how I think it's the best way to program it based on my own experience. Um, so that's on the side of BF4. Then it's practical. I don't have to set up bands. I don't have to, struggle to find ways of doing supersets. I just put on 2 blood flow restriction bands and I just start spamming push-ups. Simple as that. I don't have to look for extra equipment, to attachments, to weights, whatever. Straight up, put the fucking bands on, you start spamming, and you're good to go. And it works great as an arm day opener. So you start your arm day with diamond push-ups, or as I'm going to tell you in a second, in a circuit style with another exercise. You start spamming it, and then you take off the bands and do some other exercises, maybe rear delts, legs if you want to, like calves or whatever, forearms if you want to. Just don't work the triceps while you take off the bands for a short, like 2 to 3 sets, and then you go back to your tricep sets, like length and bias, like ring extensions, or if you use weights, like lying extensions or whatever. What you're going to notice is that your joints are in pristine state. So they're already warmed up. They have a lot of fluid coming in. You already, are in the groove. So like when you do your ring extensions, you don't feel pain, you don't feel discomfort, you are not at the risk of injury, and you're pre-fatigued. So when you do your ring extensions, if you usually get 20 plus like I do, you're only going to get 10 to 15, which is amazing. So in that regard, really cool. And while you're doing it, what you're going to notice is that, yes, the first set you might be able to get your regular reps, a little bit less maybe. Let's say you can do like 50 reps, you probably are going to get like 40, 45, something like that. Let's just say like a 10 to 20% drop off, maybe, perhaps, quizás. But then the next set, what is going to happen, is that you're going to basically do 30 something, like 35, something like that. Then the next set you're going to do 10. It's really steep. And when you get to the 10 range, that's when the sets really starts. Like, don't get me wrong, 50 and 30, you're going to get your triceps pumped to the next level. But then on the third set, that's when shit really gets hard, because you do 10 reps and you're like, damn, I barely got that. Then the next one you get like maybe 7 and you're like, fuck, this is hard. Then you move on to the second one, to the, in this case, will be the fifth or sixth one, and you can barely get 5, and it's a struggle. And maybe you have to do like a rest pause to not do just two reps. And after that, it's just the pump is nasty, the pain is like a sharp pain. And then at the next day, if you push it hard enough, you're going to get insane DOMs, like insane. Like I have gotten days where I do like PFR and I am 3 days with DOMs on my triceps. And I usually do a lot of reps with my triceps, a lot of sets, sorry. And by doing the same but with BFR, it's just on a whole lot another level, like insane. The best way for me to do it is circuit style. Now, you might enjoy just doing diamond push-ups, but what I do is I already have a band by which I train neck, which is really heavy. And I do first extensions, like band extensions, Geoffrey Schofield style. And then I immediately move on to diamond push-ups, and then I go back and forth. And sometimes, if I'm even a little bit crazy, I'm going to do drop sets or rest pause, something like that. And that causes me like to get really destroyed. And then I finish the session off with 3 sets of ring extensions. And holy shit, like holy shit. It's unbelievable the amount of stimulation you get from just 5 minutes with BFR and some yee ass ring extensions. Unbelievable. Um, so it basically works as pre-fatigue that actually matters. Instead of doing some pec flies before bench, this one actually matters and it's actually effective. So I highly recommend it. It warms up your joints and it destroys you in the process. So excellent. And then when you move on to other movements, you end up using less weights. So you get more out of less weights. And it doesn't create a lot of fatigue as a whole because it's arm bias. You're not going to get, CNS problems with arm training. Um, some of you with forearm training might be able to. I know I have a top tier Gunner audience, but in general, you're not going to experience a lot of issues in terms of biceps and triceps training. So my general recommendations would be to, for the first set, aim to do an AMRAP. This works as a progressive overload-ish kind of thing. So if in your first set you get, like 15 reps, then you can push it to 16, 17, 18, 19, and you can technically get on 100 reps in your first set. It's just that in a practical sense, I would recommend for most people, especially the ones focused on bodybuilding, or bodyweight bodybuilding, doing 15 to 25 reps is the optimal zone. You're not going to be wasting a lot of time in your first set, but you're going to get that nasty pump. So 15 to 25 reps in the first set is amazing. Then you rest 30 seconds to 45 seconds per set if you do the circuit or not. So what I mean by that is you do your diamonds, you do your band extensions, and then you rest 30 to 45 seconds, and then you return. And you have to push it to failure. And when I mean to failure, I don't mean like your head is going to pop off, but I mean to failure is um, it would really cost you, like your whole life to get the next rep. I would consider that failure. Like you would have to really be a masochistic asshole to get the next rep. What I mean by that is you push it until literally the pain is too much. Because on a regular set, yeah, there's not going to be a lot of issues and you can really push it hard. But keep in mind you're closing the blood flow. So I really don't want you like really grinding shit out, but just push it until it's really, 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 really fucking hard to get the next rep. And don't get that. Like on a, let's just say, regular set basis, like defining like a regular RPE, I would say 0 reps in reserve or 9 RPE, something like that, 9.5. And then for BFR, I would consider that to be failure because you don't want to be doing absolute grinders while you're, with blood being occluded from your limbs. Sounds dangerous. Now, do not take them off until finished. This applies to more than one thing in life, but especially for BFR, the most important part. And also related to that, do not use it for more than 7 minutes. So 7 minutes is all you have to play, and do not take them off until you're finished. Okay, which in my opinion, 7 minutes is way too much, but that's on you. And also, do not do it more than 2 times a week. The reason why I say that is we don't want to risk, because it's not even like an actual risk. It's just that we don't want to, meander or get close to there. Um, because keep in mind, when you're basically doing a tourniquet on your arm, and you don't want to be doing that constantly. You're going to get some thrombosis, maybe some blood clotting, and that can cause issues. So don't do that. Just 2 times a week max, and that's going to be fine. And don't put them too tight, because that's going to cause also some nerve damage. Just put it on so it restricts your blood flow, but don't try to over, tighten them up. Okay, tight is not always better. Sometimes it's actually worse. So that's for the BFR diamond push-ups. Let's move on to the next exercise, which is the decline inverted rows. So basically, the reason to why I have been spamming them is basically because they're practical, they're fun, and whenever I don't want to really work out, like, I end up finishing a project or a publication, something like that, and I'm like really tired. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to train, but I have to. I don't want to do pull-ups, I don't want to do push-ups. Let's just do decline inverted rows, and maybe I spamming some band pushdowns and then some ring extensions, and that's it. Sometimes I do even dips and decline inverted rows for 6 sets total, and that's it. Like minimalism at its finest. Maybe I add in some neck work because neck, but in general, it's a very approachable movement. And if you do them decline enough, they're very difficult. I can get more than 30 reps with regular ass inverted rows, and with these ones I get in the 10 to 20 rep range if controlled, and 15 to 25 regular. So if I just, when I mean with the regular ass inverted rows, I mean controlled. But if I just, spam it, I could probably get more. But with these ones, if I just spam it, I can get 15 to 25, and if I really control it, I lose like 5 reps. Then I do drop sets. I go from decline, like super decline to regular ass, and it really fries your upper back. Maybe I do some partials as well. It's a very spammable movement, so you can do a lot of sets with it, and they're going to be effective sets, don't get me wrong, but because the upper back is so receptive to high volume, you can do 6 sets per upper workout. So if you do 3 upper workouts in the session, you're going to get literally your week's worth of volume with this exercise. And you're going to probably get ultra, very, mega, hyper, super jacked and knuckles. So yeah. My favorite grips are wide grip pronated and medium neutral, mainly due to the upper back involvement. It really gets nasty. I also like supinated. It's just that let's just say that you end up using a lot of lats, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, not at all. It's just that when I'm doing rows, I already am working my lats to a good extent, and because I do calisthenics, I really need to focus on the upper back. So I'd rather, bias it towards the upper back, and I can just do more rows. Oh my God, my upper back got way bigger than my lats. What a shame, said no one ever. So also the movement is very simple and effective. So you just get on the rings, start spamming, They're especially good, again, when lazy. I just approach it as like, I'm doing inverted rows. I'm going to do 1 set, and I end up doing 6 because it's a very fun movement to do. Don't get me wrong. It's a very fun movement to do. And you end up, really enjoying your workout when you include them. What I recommend is to mix heavy rows, so one arm ring rows, front lever rows, barbell rows, dumbbell rows, whatever type of heavy row you have. You can also do weighted inverted rows. Um, you can do multiple drop sets, as I said, like mechanical drop sets or with weights, whatever you want, because it's a very spammable movement. And a cue I want to give you, especially with wide grip and medium neutral, is to drag with the elbows and think of your hands as hooks. So they're just like attachment, and what really moves is the elbow. You pull with the elbow, and what you think of doing with your hands, just dragging alongside the line of the elbow. And at the bottom, you want to protract to properly stretch the upper back and get an extra, yeah, basically get an extra stretch. And then when you go up, you want to really squeeze your upper back and then start the descent as fast as possible. So we move on to the last movement, and that is regular ab pull-ups. So body weight is enough for regular ab pull-ups if proper adjustments are made. Slow eccentrics, basically on the way down, you take 2 to 4 seconds, that's on you. And then you do an explosive concentric. What I mean by that is that as soon as you hit the bottom, in your stretch, you pause for a second and you explode back up. You don't want to do a slow concentric. Like try to make it as quick and explosive as possible and get your chin over the bar. Then once you are at the top, you begin the slowdown. You want to spend way more time on the eccentric than on the concentric, like disproportionately. It should be like, let's just say you record yourself doing these pull-ups. You should be able to skip at many parts of the video, and most of the time you should be on the way down. That's how I want you to do them. You want to do the dragging technique similar to the rows, but just instead of pulling, instead of pulling to your upper back, you pull down to use more of the lats, basically like a flossing kind of technique. You can also do it for upper back, don't get me wrong, like just contracting the upper back at the top, like elbow adduction, is actually really cool as well. Like you can find your technique, just think of the dragging cue, your hands are hooks, and you're the hooker, so drag those elbows down. And a medium grip, like I mean shoulder width, a little bit extra, a little bit shorter, that's on you, but shoulder width or a little bit extra to a standard deviation to both sides, it's for me the best and the most challenging one and the most comfortable to do. Now I want to answer one thing really quick, and I could make a whole video on this, let me know if you want to, and that is that slow eccentrics are not better than regular controlled eccentrics. Let's just say, like if you take 4 seconds to go down and you take 2 seconds, or you take 1 second but you really control the rep, like on the way down, it's not a bad, like it's not going to be better. It's not going to be like a massive difference or a difference to begin with. I would say they are equal, but that's the point. They're equal. Instead of strapping on 20 kilograms and doing, jerky pull-ups, but controlling the eccentric for 1 second, you just are with your body weight and you actually get the same stimulation for less fatigue. So it's actually better in my opinion. And also you spare your joints as well. So from my own point of view, as someone that works with just their body weight or prefers to, and keep in mind, I can do pull-ups with 50 kilograms. I really struggle to see the point, in not doing them. Like not exclusively, like you can do your weighted pull-ups and do a little bit less controlled or less, let's just say slow eccentric-y, like faster eccentrics. But including some type of really cyborg technique style pull-up is actually a good idea. You can work it in as a second or third movement, like you maybe do a one-arm chin-up or weighted pull-ups, like in the 3 to 5 range, and then you spam these because you're already tired. So you're not going to be able to get a lot of reps, and on top of that, it's going to be um, like a back offset sort of, but with variation. Um, and you can forget about the whole, setup of putting weights on or doing one arm at a time. So I think it's going to be a little bit better if you work it that way. You can also do it as a spammable movement in your lighter days. So for example, one day you do, like one arm chin-ups and super wide grip pull-ups. Then on the middle, you do these regular ab pull-ups, and then on the next, you do some front lever rows with inverted rows, something like that. Chin-ups are great for finishing arm days, with the ring especially because they're more comfortable. The only cue I could give you for chin-ups also is to keep yourself externally rotated at all times. That is going to mimic a curl, basically. It's going to be insane. but they are really cool. Do 2 sets, maybe 3. So you do your ring curls, pelican curls, and then you finish off with some ring chin-ups. Nasty work. Then my general recommendations, um, try to work in the 8 to 15 rep range. That's why I say second or third movement. You want to be in that range. If you want to, you know, work it as a second movement, but they're too easy, you can increase it to chest to bar or even add weight. I'm not against adding weight. I'm just saying, hey, we can get more out of less weight if we do it like this, and there's no drawback to it if you separately include some type of heavy, pulling movement. What I would say is to also do some beyond failure techniques, mainly rep matched sets, or what Mike Israetel calls, Myo reps. Basically do an AMRAP on set 1, and then you match that number on the following sets with rest pause if necessary. So let's say you get 15 reps in the first set, and then on the second one you get 10. Well, you do rest pause until you get 15 reps, something like that. And then you do so for your following sets. And you want to really take it to failure. And when I mean failure this time, I really mean you're trying to actively pull explosively and you can't. You really can't get yourself out of the bottom. That means you failed for specifically pull-ups. Um, I don't want you cheating on the concentric, by the way. I want you to use your muscles, but to failure, basically. And as a conclusion, I can tell you that these movements are really fucking cool, and I highly recommend you giving them a shot. And I really want to hear your feedback. If you're already doing them, let me know. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. So, see you around on the next video.